Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And I hope this is my first video in the new year 2022, and I hope everybody recovered from their hangovers. But anyway, for my first review for the new year 2022, I'm going to review the 1974 film Young Frankenstein, starring Gene Wilder, David Boyle as the monster, also Madeline Kahn, Terry Gore in the film as well. That's how it goes. This film was co-written and directed by Mel Brooks. Which in the early 70s, in 1974, his two big movies that he directed was Young Frankenstein, and the other one was Blazing Saddles. And both of them became huge hits in comedies and made Mel Brooks into a directing comedy legend that he is. He was then. Of course, Young Frankenstein is, of course, a parody of the Frankenstein movies that was made back in the 1930s. And Mel Brooks took a lot of the things from the three most famous, or three of the best Frankenstein monsters, I was going to say Frankenstein movies, and parodied them in Young Frankenstein. Because Gene Wilder plays, young Frankenstein, and he's supposed to be the grandson of, Henry Frankenstein from the original movie. So what he did was, at first he would have been out, instead of Frankenstein, he would have, I'm Frankenstein. It's our Frankenstein, not Frankenstein. There's another person, not him. But then, of course, he finally, admits that he is related to Henry Frankenstein. He was the grandson, and he inherited the estate in the lab of Henry Frankenstein. He inherited it, and so he goes to Transylvania and he checks out the house, and he meets, the assistant, Igor, not Igor, Igor, and tells him, he helped him with the experiments and stuff. So what he did, of course, Frankenstein decides to go and do the experiments and revive the monster. And the monster, of course, like I mentioned earlier, was played by David Boyle. Of course, the only other role that, unfortunately, the guy is famous for, and his sister, of course, passed away, was playing Ray Romano's father in Everybody Loves Raymond. Unfortunately, there's the only two roles the guy is known for, unfortunately. Playing the monster and Frankenstein, and playing Ray Romano's father. So, anyway, he revised it, and at first the experiment didn't work. And of course, Gene Wilder gave almost a similar type of performance as he did in the movie, the other movie that Gene Wilder is known for, and then the movies he did with Richard Pryor, were playing Willy Wonka. So he gave almost the same kind of manic performance, crazy manic performance as he did in that movie as he did in Frankenstein. I mean, he goes, "It's alive!" He does the alive thing. And the one who played Elizabeth was Madeline Kahn, who, of course, also has since passed away. She was a great comedic. First of all, she wasn't bad to look at, first of all. And second of all, she was a great comedic actress who fortunately passed away to cancer a few years ago. So she played Elizabeth in this movie. And unfortunately, and for a long time, we didn't even see her in this movie. She was with, because Gene Wilder was with Terry Gore's character, and I think this had to be one of the first, if not the first movie that Terry Gore did. Previous to this, the only other role that I know that Terry Gore did before Young Frankenstein was appearing in one Star Trek episode with Robert Lansing. And she had to be about 21 or 22 years old when she did that episode of Star Trek. I know she's in her mid-20s, I think is what she did in this movie. And she was, you have to admit, Terry Gore was hot. I mean, she was hot. And not only was she, A, not bad to look at, but B, she was a great comedic actress. From roles in Tootsie and Mr. Mom. She was great in those films. And also she was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Terry Gore. And Oh God, and so many other comedic films. Anyway, she plays the lab assistant, and Gene Wilder fell in love with her. And by the end of the film, he marries Terry Gore's character and not Elizabeth, like in the original novel and the original Frankenstein movies that Universal put out. So it kind of changed the mythology on that, and and the two characters did fool around in this film. And at one point, Igor interrupts him, and he says to him, and Gene Wilder and Frankenstein says to him, "Well, how many times do I have to tell you? Don't interrupt me while I'm working." and it was kind of funny. The two of them are lying naked in the bed there, and Gene Wilder yells at Igor for interrupting him when he was working, which was pretty funny. But then the monster, of course, is revived, and he starts walking around the countryside, and Cloris Leachman, who of course also recently passed away. Almost everybody from this movie is died, except for maybe for Terry Gore. She's the only one still alive from this movie, unfortunately. Unfortunately, she's the only one still alive right now, as far as I know. And the monster gets out, and what Gene Wilder did, he transferred his brain, or at least a part of his brain, into the monster. And now the monster's now all tamed and everything now. And of course, the most famous act, other than all the parodies of the Frankenstein movies in this film, he also did the famous scene where Gene Wilder and David Boyle on stage singing the song "Putting on the Ritz," which I think also in the early 80s, they I forgot who it was. They did a modernized version of "Putting on the Ritz," and it became kind of a big hit then. And so anyway, that's what the movie did. And of course, the funny thing is, the Madeline Kahn's character fell in love with the monster, and they made her into the bride of Frankenstein, with the hair and everything. So I thought that was kind of funny. That they made Madeline Kahn or Elizabeth as the bride of Frankenstein. But if you've never seen the previous Frankenstein films from the 30s, and then you watch this one, you miss all the references. You will miss the references of the Frankenstein films in this one. But if you have seen the original Frankenstein movie series in the 30s and the early 40s, you will enjoy I feel you will enjoy this movie. At least you will get the reference, all the jokes and the references in this film. But I thought that, Mel Brooks' type of comedy is like joke after joke, quick jokes one after the other. And that's the problem with Mel Brooks' comedy, and that's why nowadays you don't see him making movies anymore, because the constant fast beat type of jokes that will go right over people's heads because they're so quick and fast jokes that if you don't slow the movie down, you don't get the jokes. I mean, that's what I feel when I'm watching Frankenstein. I mean, I thought it was okay as a parody of the Frankenstein films, but as a comedy film, it's so-so, in my opinion. So that's my review of the movie Young Frankenstein, or Frankenstein. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please follow this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at WDYC.com, so WDY.C.com. There's a homepage and my reviewer, Christy Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.